I don't understand how Petro's 1000th game and Lunar New Year night is just an ugly game, because both of those two things are beautiful. First off, happy Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year to any of those who celebrate. I did for the first time in years with some local friends, and it brought me back to my roots, and I really love that. Shout out to Petro and his family. They were on the ice for him for his 1000th game. And I echo his sentiment at the end, which the first thing that he said regarding this was that they lost. The Vegas Golden Knights lose to the Minnesota Wild 5-3. And what was just an awful game, up and down, from the first period through the third. Didn't start out that way, because less than 30 seconds in, again, because this happened last game, Marchessault scores. He grabs the puck, flings it over, it goes off of Faber's stick and just like flies in over Gustafsson's head. Like, what? We just had that happen last game with Haig's goal. Very fluky goal. And it's 1-0 Vegas just like that. They actually dominate the first 6 minutes, and they outshoot them 4-0, and then it was like 5-1. And then, wouldn't you know it, sooner than later, the Wild are outshooting Vegas 10-5, partially due to the fact that Vegas committed 3 penalties within 2 minutes, which is unacceptable. Sheldon Rempel off for hooking. Too many men while already shorthanded. Disgraceful. You can't do that. So the Wild have a 2-man advantage, and then Braden McNabb, as Hartman is coming over, punches him in the face. Like, completely unnecessary thing for McNabb to do, and they are already down by 2 men, and so they have to go and extend the power. It's weird how that happens. I'm not sure entirely still how that works, but I do know that the Wild are on a 2-man advantage, and that Vegas is going to be for a lot. And they get one, the Wild do, because they send a shot on, Wild Bill's stick breaks. So it's down on the ice, and it's basically 5-on-2, and while Bill has like 2.5, I guess. And it ends up they're able to get one in. Zuccarello on the power play. And then, before the end of the third penalty, the third, it's technically all been just one power play, well, the second one, I guess. They're saying it was even strength here. I don't know, ESPN had a power play goal. Anyway, Joel Eriksson, because of the Wild are flinging pucks from everywhere, discombobulating Vegas, and it's just not great. But then Boldy sends it on, Eriksson tips it in, then past Aiden Hill, and it's 2-1 Wild. Just like that. 1.5 minutes apart. So, yeah, so much for that first 6 minutes. But Vegas gets one back on the power play themselves. After, you know, a minute of it just looking awful, Petro sends it over to Brisson, who sends it back to Petro, who then, he quarterbacked this well. He sends it over to Michael Amadio, who rips it and ties the game 2-2. It goes past Gustafsson. That's great. And we go into the second intermission tied. And then, similar to last game, we go into the third intermission tied with no change in score, because the second period was a whole lot of nothing. The Vegas Golden Knights had 3 power plays in that period, and it was a whole lot of nothing, which is actually detrimental. The Wild send a puck on, and Aiden Hill grabs it and then drops it. Marco Rossi pounces on the puck, jams it in past Aiden Hill for it to go in to make it 3-2 Wild. And at that point, it's like, oh, that's the first mistake I've seen Hill make, and I don't remember how long. It could be the first one he's made this season, really, because the first 2 goals, neither of them are really his fault. And then, yeah, like, he's been so solid, I cannot remember the last time he made a mistake, and that was the first one. And so it's like, yo, that's uncharacteristic, which that's weird because he's been perfect as a goalie can be. And then a minute later, he makes a second mistake that ends up in a Matt Boldy goal for the Wild, because he can't quite glove it and something happens and whatever, and Matt Boldy grabs it from him, skates over to the corner, banks it off of his back and in to make it 4-2 Wild. Just like that. The thing is Hill made a lot of good saves throughout the game, and then just for a minute fell asleep, I guess, or just did, like, I genuinely don't know what was happening. And then Vegas, you know, it's like, oh, wow, where did this come from? Mark Stone skates in, blasts one from the point, like on the rush, I guess, and it goes past Gustafsson, which is a goal that he shouldn't have allowed. And the Vegas Golden Knights pull within 1. And there's still like 10 minutes left in the third. That's like crazy. Like, what a turn of events. We're able to maybe get this going. And then time keeps ticking down and we go to pull Adin Hill after an icing. And it's one of those things that, yeah, Vegas has stunk 6-on-5 so far this season. Absolutely awful. This one wasn't that bad. They had sustained pressure. They were able to get shots on. Petro like had 3 in one like shift that just blast from the point and couldn't, like, Gustafsson just parked the bus. That's his thing, right? Gus parked the bus. The last minute was a little bit more wild than that. With less than 30 seconds left, Duhaime cross-checks. It is a cross-check, 100% is a penalty in the National Hockey. I looked up the rule book and it's a cross-check. By the textbook definition, it just wasn't called on Petro, who had the puck, yeah, but it's a cross-check. So Petro loses the puck because he's down on the ice because he was cross-checked, and Joel Eriksson finds the puck. His stick is broken, and he jams it in, which I think as soon as your stick is broken, you're supposed to drop it, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Am I saying that that's the reason Vegas lost? Absolutely not. The penalties and Hill making a couple of mistakes, yeah, that's probably why they lost. Marshy had this opportunity when it was tied at 2-2 early in the third where the net was completely wide open and he missed it. It went above the crossbar and he was uncontested on that. So just a really poor choice to try to go for a field goal there. I know we just had the Super Bowl. And then on the 6-on-5, there was an opportunity where the puck trickled out to Miromanov, who was still playing. White Cloud came in, Korzak was out. Paul Cotter and Logan Thompson also were sick. We called up Yuri Patera to back up for Adin Hill, and Sheldon Rempel was in. But there was a point where Miromanov, who's a right shot D, is on the left point. We have Miromanov and Petro as our offensive-minded guys, where the puck makes its way back to him, and if he's a left-handed shot, he can easily just try to one-time this thing, clap it in, and because he's a right-handed shot, he has to corral it instead, curls, and that just wasted an opportunity where the net was wide open, and an opportunity where I dearly, dearly miss Shea Theodore, who's been out for 32 games. He did show up in practice in a red non-contact jersey though, so that's huge for him coming forward. So hopefully we're gonna have a 27 on the ice. Soon. Maybe Saturday against Carolina. Let's go. Overall, just an ugly game from the Golden Knights. And I'm not too upset by this, like it's whatever. They've played really, really well recently, and so it's not something to fret about too much. I think it's just that I'm upset by the amount of mistakes that were made, and Petro's 1000th game. Like, I feel bad for him. It was winnable. Every other team that played in the West tonight lost, so like not losing ground there, I guess, but it was the Flames, the Kraken, and the Coyotes, who we're not really competing with, so it doesn't really matter. Just boo. Like, that stinks. Congrats to Petro on his 1000th career NHL game played. Next game is Alec Martinez's 800th. That was said in the live stream. So, hey, PSF live stream on the app, check it out. We will be streaming Saturday's game against Carolina. That's the next game. We just got back from the All-Star break. We had like 2 games in a row. That was great. We had the Oilers and then the Coyotes. And then from Thursday to Monday, we had a break. And now from Monday to Saturday. But that was game 53's Nightly Review. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night.